Hello guys, I hope you're doing great. Well, today we're going to talk about how to get along with adolescents. So let's see what Quentin Blake picture book says. And here there is Sagasu, and this tells the surreal story of George and Bella, who became parents after they unwrapped a parcel containing a baby. The perfect baby becomes a baby vulture who scratches all night into their doom his clumsy elephant. When Sagasu hits the teen years, he turns into a hulking beast who becomes stronger and hairier by the minute, and they hit breaking point. Blake's illustration get wilder. George's hair turns gray. Suppose it never stops. Bella panics. It doesn't bear thinking about. George cries. What will become of us? He says. So it's very funny. But it also conveys a powerful message about adolescence. That is something to dread, survive, tolerate for children and parents. But does it have to be this way? We asked experts of how to do that, how to survive to this experience. The result is a few tips to embrace your adolescent, understanding the very real changes they're undergoing, comprehending the world they inhabit, and perhaps taking a look at yourself too. So first, let's go. Parents are biologically driven to protect their child. But in evolutionary terms, the protected child has to grow up and separate. And so the period of adolescence is there for that to happen, says Nicola Morgan, who writes about teenagers. So she says that this process is easier for teens because they're biologically programmed to separate, while the parents are still in protection mode. There's nothing in the parent's brain that makes it want to separate from the child. The trouble happens when we try to protect for too long. That's where often conflicts come. It's okay to mourn the loss of their cuddly little person, but embrace the fact that they are entering a new stage of life. Ray Leeds, an important counselor. But don't think your teenager doesn't need you anymore. They absolutely do, even though they think they don't. It's just that it's different from when they were a child and you were in total control. Second, understand the biology. Hormones and seismic growth through adolescent brain into overdrive, and they don't finish developing until their 20s. This is pure biology, and it means adolescents gravitate towards certain behaviors, emotional roller coastering, so-called bad risk-taking, lower empathy, susceptibility to peer pressure, and weaker impulse control. Maybe you have an important part here to give guidance along the way. Sometimes it's immensely reassuring to know that there's a biological reason behind some adolescent behavior. If you are in the thick of some challenging moments, keep that in mind. This development of the brain also means sleep patterns are affected. Put simply, teenagers aren't ready to go to bed when you want them to be, and they might struggle to get up in the morning. It's useless to get into arguments over bedtimes. Things have changed since they were toddlers. You could sleep train. No amounts of arguing and rule setting can beat biology. Instead, help them to change their routine where possibly to accommodate a new pattern of sleep, even if it's only at weekends. Yeah, you could do it. Third, don't write of gaming. Video games are a big part of childhood and teenage life, so getting to grips with them can be a window to understand and engaging with your teenager, says an important journalist. And clearly, if they play too much or on their own in a bedroom, it can have an isolating effect. His advice is to bring them out from the shadows and make gaming more a family friendly activity. This requires getting involved early, avoid just setting limits when they are young, find games you want them to play, research the PAN European Game Information PEGI ratings so you know which games are appropriate. These ratings work like film classification from 3 suitable for 3 years old and above to adult appropriate for 18s. There are also symbols showing what sort of content to expect, from scary scenes to even sex. Games can instill amazing character traits like perseverance, kindness, cooperation, and strategic thinking, he says. And gaming health is about a balanced diet. With food, we don't worry about playtime. It's what's on the plate that matters. Similarly, it's what's on the screen that's important. In other words, aimless YouTube surfing isn't the same as time spent playing a well-planned strategic game together. Also, don't assume they don't want you involved. Show some interest early and you might have a connection for life. If you are just not interested in joining in, you can discuss with them how many hours a day they think it's appropriate to play, what kind of games you are comfortable with. Make sure it's a dialogue, although you are the ultimate arbiter. They still have some say. 4. Keep lines of communication open. There is no doubt that the way you communicate will change. If you experience this, the rowing, the shouting, the melodrama, or the silent treatment can feel very personal, but try not to take it as such. Always keep the channels of communication open. Take the time to learn their language and when they might want to talk. For example, a face-to-face sit-down conversation across the table will be too confrontational. But if there's no other option, you should try it. Another thing that you can try is to cultivate moments where sideways conversations happen, such as in the car or while walking or doing household chores together. This way, things can be much more relaxed and they will often open up and be more receptive. The author here points out to remind parents to continue to include an adolescent in everything they might normally do as family. A grunt might actually mean, yes please, so keep them involved. Don't feel hurt when they reject you. Enjoy it when they don't. Another columnist says that what I don't understand are parents who want their children to acquiesce when they are little but magically know their own minds when they are a teenager. That's where the difficulty seems to be. Okay. The next is 5th, set social media standards. Accept the widening of the online landscape is probably the biggest difference between your own adolescence and that of your child's. But remember, just as in the real life, your teenager will need boundaries in their virtual worlds. Keep tabs on what they get up to. Educate yourself if necessary, but develop a mutual trust. Only when we engage with the positives can we negotiate and encourage healthy behaviors. Give them some teach responsibility at home, sorting out a dodgy Skype connection, or if they have younger siblings, ask them for help. Talking about online safety, show trust where you can. to help them see that life's not all line. Let them choose an offline activity you can do together. It doesn't matter what: climbing, cake decorating, woodland, kite flying, surfing. It's a matter of what you like or what you find. It'll give them a rush, a new skill, and some good social media pics. Finally, don't forget to look at your own habits and set a good example. It's difficult to lay down the law if you can't stop looking at your phone. Model good behavior to them. That's key. Sixth, take mental health seriously. Many common mental health problems, such as depression, have their onset in early adolescence. An important counselor says that she often gets asked when normal teenage behavior becomes a mental health issue. It doesn't matter what if your partner said to you, "Is this really serious, or is this just a menopause?" How would that make you feel? If someone genuinely shows interest in you and listens to you, then that improves your brain chemistry. Just listen to what they have to say. There seems to be a horrible divide between the generations based on the fact that adolescents today are growing up in a technologically advanced age. What happens is parents end up telling their teens they should be happy because they've got more materially than they ever had. But material things don't make you happy. This rather toxic attitude towards teenagers is something that another writer says, "I think teenagers are scared of becoming teenagers because adults talk about it in a way that is so scary." And seventh, your role. Bear in mind the importance of your role. Don't forget your own partnership. Nurture each other. If you are on your own, find some support. Act with your partner and don't undermine each other. Consider whether your reaction to your teenager's behavior is colored by your own experiences. Maybe you toed the line when you were an adolescent. If you have a youngster who isn't doing that, be prepared to be jealous of their gutsy response. You might wish you've done the same. Revisiting your youth is important for maintaining your empathy and humor levels. Keep checking in with your teenage self. What would that person make of your adult life now? So let's think about it. Make your own conclusions. That's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you have a great day. Please share, subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below. See you soon.